that has been happening for a long time. Only Tamil Nadu has been an aberration across the country, where they are playing only the Tamil anthem and refusing to play the national anthem, for which the Honorable Governor had objected to it today, and then he had even walked out of the thing.
Well, let's get in a word from Salim Dhanidharan, who's representing the DMK with us at the moment. Salim Dhanidharan, the BJP claims that under the DMK, history cheaters and sexual offenders are operating freely as DMK functionaries. That's their claim. The AIA-DMK, meanwhile, has been vocal about the recent sexual assault at Anna University. Do you believe your government is doing enough, especially in terms of maintaining law and order?
Well, anyone can speak about law and order, but not BJP. The top 10 states in this country was worse for women to live are BJP rule states. Out of the top 10, 8 states. 70% of crime against women happen in BJP rule state. 151 BJP MPs and MLAs have been convicted of crimes against women. And these people come and say Tamil Nadu is lawless. You take the NCRB data and see, right? That's Tamil Nadu stands. Ask him to keep quiet now.
Mr. Raman, please let Mr. Dhanidharan make his point.
He should keep quiet, right? And again, this governor has been doing politics always. Governor's job is a rubber stamp as per the constitution. As per the Supreme Court, what has been told? Supreme Court says the governor is nothing but short an expression of the state council of ministers. That's all. He's expected to read.
Mr. Raman, we will come back to you. Please let Mr. Dhanidharan complete his point.
Says. And this person wants to find reason. Last year, what did he do? When national anthem was sung, he walked away. They only want to do drama. They want to make Tamil Nadu underdeveloped like other BJP rule states. What is Gujarat model? Any socio-economic, Tamil Nadu ranks better than Gujarat. Why do we need BJP in Tamil Nadu? You tell me that. There's no reason why we need BJP in Tamil Nadu. Any BJP rule state, let them have ruled the state for 20 years, 25 years. Any metric in comparison to Tamil Nadu, we do better in socio-economic metric. Tell me one thing that BJP rule states have done better than Dravidian parties rule Tamil Nadu. One thing, nothing. Right? They come here and talk about law and order. Let them go and see what is happening in UP under Yogi Adityanath. What happened in Hathras? What happened in Unnao? What happened in Bilkis Banu? Rape convicts were released, right? And they have the audacity to come and talk here that Tamil Nadu is becoming lawless under DMK, and we should listen. This is outrageous.
Well,
and this governor does nothing. He's only thwarting the progress of Tamil Nadu. Every time is drama. Last year when national anthem was sung, he did not respect. He walked away during national anthem. It was not the national anthem was not sung. He wants to do drama. That's the problem.
Let's get in a rebuttal from Kalyan Raman, who's with us. Mr. Raman, the High Court has also observed that the Anna University sexual assault case, as far as that is concerned, it's being politicized and there's no genuine concentration on women's safety. What do you have to say regarding these observations?
Well, the court can make any observation. The fact of the case remains that the government was not doing the right thing. That is why the court had to intervene. The Commissioner of Police, shame on the whole thing. The Commissioner of Police said
Mr. Dhanidharan, let Mr. Raman make his point.
Just shut your mouth and listen. The Commissioner of Police said that there was only one man involved. Arun should have either resigned by now.
All right, gentlemen, let's remind ourselves that we maintain decorum, please.
Removed Arun by now. You neither removed Arun nor did you do anything thereafter. The court had to intervene. How dare someone, the Commissioner of Police, pass on a comment saying that only one person was involved without an investigation? Whom you are trying to shield and protect?
No,
well, Mr. Dhanidharan, go ahead and respond.
Convicts in your party.
Are not you shameless?
Who appointed a registrar for Anna University? Your governor. Who appointed a registrar for Anna University? There is no vice chancellor for Anna University. Why? Because the governor is not allowing.
Gentlemen, this way gentlemen, 1 second, a moment, please. Let's try and maintain decorum. Salim Dhanidharan, as far as the ongoing spat between the governor and the chief minister is concerned, it seems to have disrupted the assembly's functioning, as we've seen in the past. Do you see this affecting the legislative agenda this time around as well in this session?
Despite this governor behaving however he has been behaving, but the governor's job is not to have fight with the chief minister. His job is to be a constitutional head. That's what even discussed the constitutional debate. The constitutional debate happened in late 40s. The reason why the governor was not elected through an election was because the people in the assembly found that if at all there will be election for the governor, then he will run a parallel government, which itself clearly says that it's a constitutional post. So he has no job interfering with the elected state government. That is point one. He wants drama. And two, When who appointed the registrar of Anna University? It's the governor. Why is the vice chancellor post being vacant in Anna University? It is again simply because the governor is not allowing the vice chancellor to be appointed. Though it is though Tamil Nadu government funds Anna University, it's an autonomously run university, right? So vice chancellor will run. Without vice chancellor, governor appointed registrar is running it. If there is an issue there with safety, the registrar is responsible, who was appointed by the governor. He has links to RSS. And they come here, come and talk. What was Annamalai and these people doing in Hathras happened? When Bilkis Banu rape convicts were released, or restless were protesting in Delhi, sleeping, or Manipur.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us and joining us on NDTV. Kalyan Raman and Salim Dhanidharan, we really appreciate your time. Sam Daniel has been tracking the finer details for us. You've just heard from the BJP and the DMK both. Let's go across to Sam now for the latest, what's happening inside that assembly session. Sam, you had mentioned there was a stormy start to the Tamil Nadu assembly session. What's going on at the moment?
Well, right now the Speaker is translating the original speech the government had given to the governor to be read on the floor of the House. Since the governor did not do that, the Speaker is doing that, and it could get over any time now, Parameshwar. After that, the Assembly will again convene only tomorrow. But in the course of the day, the Business Advisory Committee of the Tamil Nadu Assembly would sit and decide for how many days would this session go on. And the deliberations and discussions on the floor of the House would technically begin from tomorrow, when the AIADMK is expected to rake these issues yet again, particularly the sexual assault, the alleged sexual assault on the Anna University campus, women's safety, law and order, drugs, and a few other issues. So both sides are really preparing for a stormy session. Today's session would conclude any time now, and the stage is set in that sense, with the AIADMK raking up the alleged sexual assault on the Anna University campus, and the Congress raising slogans against the governor that he is not working for the welfare of Tamil Nadu, with the governor himself walking out, raising objection to the national anthem not being played in the Tamil Nadu Assembly at the beginning of the session. Parameshwar.
Right, as always, Sam, thanks so much for joining us with the latest details. R.N. Ravi walked out over the national anthem, as my colleague Sam Daniel is reporting. Meanwhile, both BJP MLAs and AIADMK MLAs have walked out of the assembly as soon as it started. It's been a stormy start to the Tamil Nadu assembly session. We will, of course, get you the latest updates. Well, breaking news, US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has touched down in India to take stock of the India-US initiative on critical and emerging technologies. In fact, this represents a landmark initiative between our countries in areas of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, biotech, as well as defense innovation. Mr. Sullivan's trip will be the last high-profile visit to New Delhi from the outgoing Biden administration. In fact, I must also inform you that Jake Sullivan will be holding talks with our National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval. The US National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, is expected to also include discussions, as per reports, with Indian counterparts about the impact of Chinese dams while he is in Delhi. My colleague Neeta has been tracking the finer details for us. She joins us with the latest on Mr. Sullivan's meeting with NSA Doval. Neeta, Jake Sullivan expected to hold talks with a National Security Advisor. Give us the lowdown.
Absolutely. It's a two-day visit, today and tomorrow, and he would also be visiting IIT Delhi, where he would be giving a lecture. As per the information, both the sides are going to work on, further strengthening ISET, that is the Initiative on Critical Emerging Technology, which was initiated in June 2023 when the Prime Minister was in Washington. As you mentioned, the two sides would also be discussing biotechnology, space cooperation, quantum technology, and artificial intelligence. Apart from that, what our sources are also telling us that how to operationalize the Middle East Economic Corridor, which was stalled when the conflict hit Gaza, would also be discussed, because now Abraham Accords are now going to be back in motion, with Trump government being there in the U.S. As far as Mr. Sullivan is concerned, he played a very crucial role, a very positive role during his tenure. He pushed forward a 414 jet engine deal between the US and India. He also supported India on manufacture of semiconductors. Apart from this, Sullivan also put pressure on Pakistan on cross-border terrorism against India, and was also a peacemaker when India and US, relations hit a staggering point when this Khalistani terrorist J.S. Pannun issue was raised last year. Interestingly, earlier last year, in fact, in December, the External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, was also in Washington, where he met all the top officials and also the outgoing administration as well as the new administration, which included NSA Mike Waltz. So this is going to be a crucial meeting because this is going to be the last meeting, as you said, of the Biden administration top official. So how to take the relations between India and US forward is going to be streamlined in these meetings.
As always, Neeta, thank you so much for joining us with the latest details. The other big story we're tracking, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to announce his resignation as leader of the Liberal Party this week. This is what the Globe and Mail is reporting. Now, Trudeau has been under pressure from elected lawmakers in his party to quit for months. And it increased further when Chrystia Freeland, his finance minister, stepped down last month on the 16th, saying she and the Prime Minister were at odds on policy. Liberal lawmakers, meanwhile, are scheduled to hold a caucus meeting on Wednesday, and Trudeau's resignation would trigger a race for the party leadership, with the winner becoming the Prime Minister. You must note that the Globe story didn't say that Trudeau has firmly made up his mind to resign, but what exactly will the impact be? Will the impact his decision carry? What will it mean for Trudeau's legacy if he resigns now? And is it a strategic move or an unavoidable outcome? Maha Siddiqui shares the details with you.
A lot of his party members also blame Justin Trudeau specifically for the unpopularity of the Liberal Party. They feel that the economic situation in the country was not properly handled. There was rising inflation, housing crisis, because of which the party has been left vulnerable now electorally. And that is why there were calls for a leadership change in the Liberal Party. These calls have been made for the last over 6 months. Members of his party, as well as members of parliament of the Liberal Party, have been calling for his resignation as the party leader and have been asking for a fresh leadership to take them into the next election. But his situation became even more tenuous after his close ally, the Deputy Prime Minister and the former Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland, resigned. She said that Justin Trudeau wanted to change her ministry, but she chose to step down from the cabinet instead. Since then, the NDP that had initially been supporting the Trudeau government, the minority government from the outside, but they had, remember, withdrawn that outside support in September. However, they were supporting the government on a case-by-case basis in Parliament. The leader of that party, Jagmeet Singh, had also said that he will bring a non-confidence motion against the Trudeau government come the 27th of January, when the House of Commons would have met again. That is when the situation for Justin Trudeau became absolutely difficult to continue with. Justin Trudeau realized that his party is not going to survive this non-confidence motion, because another important opposition party, Bloc Québécois, also said that they will not be supporting the government this time around. And it is under these circumstances now that reports are coming in, specifically Globe and Mail reporting, citing 3 sources, that Justin Trudeau is going to step aside as the leader of the Liberal Party, which means that he will no longer remain the Prime Minister. However, there is no clarity yet on who could take over and whether this is going to save the government, because the NDP has clearly said that even if there is a change in leadership, they will continue to go ahead with their non-confidence motion, and because they want this government to go immediately and fresh elections to be.
And for further clarity from Canada, we have with us Daniel Borman joining us on NDTV. Thanks so much, Daniel, for making time for us. Is Justin Trudeau's resignation inevitable now? And what impact will his decision have on the Liberal Party's future?
It's a bit of a strange thing, because if it was any other leader of any other party at any other point in Canadian history, he would have been forced to resign, I mean, years ago. But especially like the most recent scandals with, his own deputy prime minister saying pulling the whole "you can't fire me, I quit" shtick. And the fact that over half his own caucus has come out against him. I mean, any other leader of any other party would have been forced to resign instantly. But this is Justin Trudeau. This is the modern Liberal Party. This is modern Canada. And he seems to have no shame in any way. So he's very willing to sort of grasp onto power by any means necessary. So the rumors that he's set to resign could be true. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking. I mean, any other politician in this scenario would be forced to resign. The government is completely untenable. But in sort of a weird way, the fact that Canadian parties can be whipped and very much controlled by their leaders. So between the two of them, between Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, if both of those two don't want an election, it is still possible to kind of hold out until October. But if it was any other person, they would have been forced to resign instantly. But he is so, I don't know. I guess narcissism is the word. He is incredibly narcissistic that he's refused to take any accountability for his actions. So we do know there's lots of pressure on him to resign, but there's always been a lot of pressure on him to resign over the last few years due to like the massive amount of just scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal where from week to week it's some new major scandal. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does resign today, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this just turns out to be rumors, because again, there's two factions within the Liberal Party now, ones that want him gone and ones that want him to stay. So this is just a rumor, and it's not so far-fetched that someone who's part of the anti-Trudeau faction could leak a rumor to the Globe and Mail to put more pressure on him to try and force him to resign and enforce a leadership. But again, this is all rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic for the Liberal Party. They're projected to get 6 seats, and if they change Trudeau as leader, maybe they could get 15 seats out of 333. I mean, they're still going to get obliterated electorally. So,
can Trudeau maintain his position as Prime Minister while the Liberal Party chooses a new leader? There are reports suggesting that Trudeau's advisors are working on a plan to save his chair. But the big question is, can they pull this off?
We're all kind of in uncharted territories here. Like, no one's really sure. Like, it might be technically possible to stay on as Prime Minister, but like resign as leader. But I don't. Like in practicality, that's never happened. When you resign as leader of the party, there's a new interim leader of the party, and they would then become prime minister. But again, all of this is very, very unpopular with Canadians. Canadians know that Donald Trump's administration is coming in on the 20th. He does despise Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland and pretty much everyone in the Liberal Party for good reason. I mean, they spent the last 10 years, 8 to 9 years, let's say, just Trump bad as a key part of their foreign and domestic policy. So it wouldn't be shocking if again the Liberals get in and pull some sort of shenanigans where he's still prime minister but not leader. But it would make no sense. Again, we're all in our uncharted territory here. The government should have collapsed months ago, and should collapse any minute now. But it requires the leader of the Liberal Party to have no shame, no love of country, no love of party, no love of anything other than himself. And that's kind of what we had. So this is pretty indicative of Justin Trudeau, just no regard for even his own Liberal Party, which he claims to care about. So he'll burn down the country. We all know that, but now he showed he'll burn down the Liberal Party just to, I don't know, be king of Canada for a few more months. Like, I think he really loves being president of the G7 this year and calling him president. He's going around calling himself president of the G7. This is things Trudeau loves. Trudeau loves international nonsense. He wants to be chief UN ambassador to social justice, climate change feelings. This has always been a major goal of his, is to be like internationally recognized as some sort of vapid international head of something. So with the G7 set to come to Canada, I mean, this is sort of his fantasy, is to just call himself captain and president of the G7. And very much, if you can tell in Canada, he very much enjoys declaring himself president of the G7 right now. So I think that's, I mean, it's saying crazy to sound, that kind of is, I think, his primary motivation going forward, is he wants to have the G7 in Canada and, sort of pretend he's king of the world for a week. But is that enough to keep the entire government in place? We'll find out. But again, we're in uncharted territory in Canada because any other leader would have been forced out months ago by some of these scandals. But he's just kind of just showed that if I just ignore the scandals and blame it all on Stephen Harper or Pierre Poilievre or Donald Trump or someone else or Indian foreign interference, right? It's the Indian government's reason why I'm unpopular with Canadians. So I'm not going to resign because Canadians love me. They're just being tricked by Modi or something into not liking me. These are all semi-possible Trudeau explanations to
As
his
always,
behavior.
Daniel, thanks so much for joining us on NDTV. With that, let's turn our attention to home ground. Well, Telangana's Anti-Corruption Bureau has issued a notice to Bharat Rashtra Samiti Working President K.T. Rama Rao, asking him to appear before the investigating officer for questioning today. In fact, I must inform you that K.T. Rama Rao has reached the Anti-Corruption Bureau along with his lawyers. Uma Sudhir is right there. She's got the latest update for us.
అన్నిటిని కూడా న్యాయపరంగా ఎదుర్కొంటాం. Yes, they are going in the next 15-20 minutes. ఇంకా వాళ్ళ విఘ్నత అది, రేవంత్ రెడ్డి గారి యొక్క విఘ్నత, వారి యొక్క తెలివితేటలు. నేను సహకరించడానికి ఇక్కడికి వస్తే నన్ను కనీసం లాయర్ కావాలని నేను కోరేందుకు కారణం ఒకటి. మొన్ననే పట్నం నరేందర్ రెడ్డి విషయంలో వీళ్ళు చేసిన కుట్ర, రేవంత్ రెడ్డి డైరెక్షన్ ప్రకారం పట్నం నరేందర్ రెడ్డి మీద ఇవ్వని స్టేట్మెంట్ ఇచ్చినట్టు అభూత కల్పనలు సృష్టించి, ఊహాజనితమైన వార్తలు సృష్టించి, బదనాం చేసే ప్రయత్నం చేసి, ఆయన కన్ఫెషన్ ఇచ్చిండు, కేటీఆర్ ను ఏం చేసిండని లేనిపోని కథ చేసిండ్రు. మళ్ళా మాకు అట్లా జరగకూడదు అనేది నా తాపత్రయం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Well, you've just heard from K.T. Rama Rao as he heads for questioning along with his lawyers. This is in connection with the ongoing probe into the alleged financial irregularities in the conduct of the Formula E car race in Hyderabad last year in February. Uma Sudhir has been tracking the latest developments for us. Uma, we've just heard from K.T. Rama Rao. If you could take our viewers through what he said. There was a mention of Ravant Reddy there. Take us through what's expected today.
So, high drama outside the Anti-Corruption Bureau office in Banjara Hills, where K.T. Rama Rao reached along with his lawyers, and he says he will not go inside unless his lawyers are also allowed. And the police reportedly telling him that there is permission only for K.T. Rama Rao to go inside. Of course, he was summoned by the Anti-Corruption Bureau for questioning in the Formula E case, where he has been named as A1 by them, and he has been charged for criminal breach of trust and also unauthorizedly transferring 55 crore rupees to Formula E organizers. What now Mr. K.T. Rama Rao is saying is that, one, the quash plea that he had filed in court has been reserved, and the court has in fact said, of course, that he should not be arrested till such time that is not disposed and the verdict is not given in that particular case. So he says there is actually no reason for the Anti-Corruption Bureau to now call him in for questioning at a time when the court has in fact reserved judgment on his quash plea. The second thing is saying is that he will go in only along with his legal team, and if they are not allowed inside, he is not going to go inside. It is with respect towards the law that he decided to appear before the ACB, and they were denying him by his legal right by not allowing him to go in along with his lawyers. The reason he is giving for that is saying that Mr. Patnam Narendra Reddy, who was in fact arrested in the case of the Lagacherla incident, where there was an attack on the collector and certain other officials when they went for kind of a public hearing there, and that had become a big issue in which the alleged hand of the BRS leadership was alleged. He is saying Narendra Reddy, who is a BRS leader, that the police had claimed that he had made a confession naming KTR, whereas he had never done that, and he believes that if he goes into the ACB office without his lawyers, it is possible that they will attribute to him statements and then flashes out to the media saying that he has made certain confessions or has admitted to certain wrongdoings which he never would have, and therefore he is not wanting to go without lawyers team inside, and he says it is his legal right to do so. The third fear that he's expressed is that when he is gone, he suspects that the ACB may actually read his
Right, we seem to be having a certain audio issue with your line, Uma. While we work on just reviving that, thank you so much for joining us with the latest details. As you can see through the live visuals coming in, K.T. Rama Rao has said that he will only go into the ACB office if he is allowed to be accompanied with his lawyers. Telangana's Anti-Corruption Bureau had asked him to show up for questioning at 10 a.m. and he has arrived with his lawyers, but he has refused to enter without them. We'll of course get you the latest from Hyderabad. For now, let's turn our attention to the main accused in the murder of journalist Mukesh Chandrakar's case. Well, the main accused in the murder of journalist Mukesh Chandrakar, whose body was actually found in a septic tank in Chhattisgarh last week, has been arrested from Hyderabad last night. Suresh Chandrakar is actually the mastermind. He's a distant relative and a contractor. He had been on the run since the incident came to light. And according to the police, Suresh was hiding at his driver's residence in Hyderabad. To track him, the police reviewed footage from about 200 CCTVs and traced nearly 300 mobile numbers to track this man. The police are currently interrogating Chandrakar. This is what we can disclose to you so far. We actually have a reaction lined up for you from the SIT in charge, Mayank Gurjar. Here's what he had to inform us.
SIT टीम के द्वारा पत्रकार साथी मुकेश चंद्राकर के हत्या की घटना में शामिल फरार आरोपी सुरेश चंद्राकर की देर रात हैदराबाद में हिरासत में लिया गया। साथ ही साथ इस प्रकरण में अब तक सुरेश चंद्राकर के अलावा 3 आरोपियों की गिरफ्तारी पहले की जा चुकी है, जिसमें रितेश चंद्राकर, दिनेश चंद्राकर एवं महेंद्र रामटेके शामिल हैं। साथ ही साथ मामले में विस्तृत पूछताछ की जा रही है।
My colleague Anurag Dwari has been tracking this story very closely. He joins us live at the moment. Anurag, Suresh Chandrakar and his wife have now been taken into custody in Chhattisgarh?
Yes, an SIT was formed to arrest Suresh Chandrakar, 11-member SIT headed by IPS Mayank Gurjar, and they have reviewed around 200 CCTV cameras, more than 300 mobile numbers were tracked, and after that the police arrested Suresh Chandrakar from Hyderabad. He was hiding at his driver's place. His bank accounts were frozen, illegal construction owned by Suresh Chandrakar were demolished, and now the police they have arrested Suresh Chandrakar from Hyderabad, and he will be soon brought back to Bijapur.
Thanks so much, Anurag, for joining us with that brief update. As you know, Mukesh recently exposed an alleged corruption in a 120 crore rupee road construction project from Gangaluru to Hiroli in the Bastar region, as my colleague Anurag Dwari has shared with us. The project, whose official tender was actually worth 50 crore rupees, saw it escalating to about 120 crore rupees without any changes to the scope of work. His body was found in a septic tank last week. Let's move on now. I'm told there's a BJP press conference going on at the moment. This is regarding the Aam Aadmi Party's election promises and the PM's promises for Delhi. Listen in to what Virendra Sachdeva has to say.
दिया जाता है और कोई भी वर्क ऑर्डर बिना किसी जस्टिफिकेशन के, बिना किसी अनुमति के पास कर दिए जाते हैं, जिसकी लागत 33.71 करोड़ पहुंचती है। और सीएजी की रिपोर्ट जो लिखा है उसमें पृष्ठ संख्या 127 वो प्रोजेक्ट कंसल्टेंट की नियुक्ति से लेकर प्रोजेक्ट लागत तय करने के सारे नियमों के बारे में सवाल खड़े करती है। मैं सिर्फ एक बात पूछता हूं कि ये जो सीएजी की रिपोर्ट है 2022 तक की दिखा रही है, जिसमें 33.71 करोड़ का खर्चा इसके ब्यूटिफिकेशन पर दिखाया है। अब ये इन्वेंट्री का क्या करें?